Good morning. Hi. It's another you know what we call this a session with Bridget. This is cute. In the name of the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, Amen. And as I've been doing, is offering this project. It's a beautiful project, and I've offered it up to the Blessed Holy Family, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. And there's some stories about that too in my life. But thank you, Jesus and Mary and Joseph, for your continued blessing on me and all of mine. And I seek your wisdom and your guidance and your spiritual help with my stories. And I already know the happiness has been coming to me through this wonderful background of my being one of number 8 in a family of 17. So Jesus, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, I thank you all for your continued blessings and love. In the name of the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, Amen. Okay, before I kind of go to the project I'm going to go on, which is the last time we were on Bowser. So I'm going to close that chapter of all those stories and go. But before I do that, I have a picture I want to show everybody. And I don't know if I ever got to this picture, Bridget, on one of my talks. But this is Easter, and it's 1945, and I am number 6 in that line. So this is not my father. This is my older brother. Jimmy, Pat, Joanne, Skippy, Ursula, Angela, Eileen, Mike, Donnie, and Stevie is the one in my beautiful mother's arms. And here I am because I'm going to talk about of all the girls. There's one that has a bow in her hair, her long hair. And of all the children in the line, there's only one holding her Easter basket. So when you see pictures and paintings and things, you've got to look at detail. And that detail reminds me that it's Easter, and we had an Easter egg hunt, and everybody must have put their baskets down. And maybe Daddy's taking the picture. Somebody might have said, oh, well, put your baskets down. This is my Easter basket. I'm going to hold on to it. And I think that is a cute saying of my personality. I love that. And I had white shoes, and Ursula had patent leather, and Eileen had patent leather, but I got some white shoes. Of course, probably handed down. But anyway, I'll just polish them up, and there you go. But look how well dressed we are. I just wanted everybody to know that. So, okay, we got that. Then the other picture I wanted to show you, which I don't think I showed, the blessing of the Blessed Mother in my second time in first grade. And I'm wearing a long dress, but I didn't know it was long till Ursula told me. I just had to go back and look at the picture, and it's pale blue. Now, I have to say something. The girls, those are 8th grade girls, and down here is a little angel in first grade with her first communion little crown on. That was my escort. So this is Holy Trinity on the altar, and that would be 1947, I think, is the year. So that's, I wanted to show everybody that. And let me tell you, my mother is the one that framed that picture. And here is, I find it, how many years later, that the wonderful thing about my talk on, oh, here it is. My talk on Bowser is that I didn't know this till I started researching my sister's book, Ursula's book. Ursula wrote this. And in that book, it's a picture. Oh, here. Yeah, I'm going to show you the picture. There's a picture that proved that Philip was the baby, and that's Bishop Dangelmar, and that is on Bowser. So now I know that we were still in Bowser on January 14th, 19, what is it? Gosh, how old was he? Oh, 1950, he was 54. No, I mean, he was 1954 when he was born. So that helps a whole lot, I'm telling you, because this is where I'm going to start. So we had the last Christmas in 1953 at Bowser. Let's see. This is my last time. Oh no, I'm talking about that later. But all of 1954 is I was in 7th grade. Eileen and I were in 7th grade. So lots of things happened in my like the last Christmas, and then January. That's when Philip was born, 19 January 14th, 1954. And then our past years, we went to February, and then in March, this is my last birthday. I was turned 14 years old, and on Bowser. So here I was. This is incredible. Here I am, the baby, and we move into this new house on Bowser, and here I am. We're leaving, and it happened to be near my birthday. So and this was the last. This would be the last Easter in April. In May, believe it or not, Eileen and I were confirmed in our 7th grade. I thought it was 8th grade, but it looks like the picture of Eileen and I were in, believe in this is beautiful. We wore white, graduation gowns, and we had red ribbons for our confirmation, everybody in our class, boys and girls. And then June came along, and that's when Eileen turned 13, okay? And we were still on Bowser. And the reason why I say this I found this, and this is the deed of the selling of the house to us, and the date, and I'm going to give it to you because I don't know if you can see it very clearly. And I'll tell you how much our house cost. Our house cost $42,500, and Daddy bought it on. Let's see. I love the country. How did I find this? I found it in an old album just recently. Let's see. Makes a difference, doesn't it? When you see a contract like this, you go, oh my God, where is it? But the other, I think it's July. Oh, here it is. Oh gosh, no, I don't even. It's so. You know what? I need to get a lawyer to read this. Where are my sons when I need them? There it is, 42,000, and it was 7th day of July, 1954. So we bought our new house in July, okay? And this one is the deed of the real estate. Let's see, okay, what is it called? The mortgage real estate note. So Daddy borrowed only 25,000 of the 42,000. I wonder, did Daddy put a down payment that much? I don't know. I don't know, but anyway. But now I get to know that okay, so we moved into our house from Bowser Avenue to Gooding Drive, and naturally, with so many kids, you know, Mother needed our help with carrying I'm sure the movers brought it, but my mother bought new beds for Eileen and our dormitory, 2 double beds, and then she bought 4 or 5 beds for the boys' dormitory, new beds. Now I can just see my mother saying now, Jim, we are not having those iron beds in my new home. And so here we are, new house and new beds. And I guess mother had to go get new sheets and bedspread. She did all this, but we were the helpers when the movers came. I come to think of it, can you imagine movers coming in a big truck and and there are always probably 2 guys. And and for them, seeing kids, it looks like there's 20 kids coming out of the house. Oh, we can help. I can just imagine their shock, and I'm probably trying to count them, and then they probably counted twice because we move around so much. But the scene has got to be, this is my life. This is we live. But anyway, but we were there to help, mother somewhat, however she wanted us to do, and maybe mother made us all go in the backyard, and maybe she made a picnic lunch for us or something. That would be mother to get out of the hair of the movers. But we moved in, and I happen to have a picture of maybe I should take, I don't know if take out the plastic. Oh, wait. Can you see Gooding Drive? This is our house right here. Oh, no, that's the back house. Oh, shoot, that's the back of the house. Here's the front of the house. Okay, I don't know. It's not a real great picture. But guess what? All those little bushes are gladiola bushes. So that was mother's favorite flower. Okay, there you go. So we got that. And now we are in our home in July. And this is the interesting thing is August is going to be a time that Daddy took his 3 daughters on a trip. Imagine moving to this new house. And I think it was July, because it takes a month to get moved in. Daddy took us 3 daughters, Ursula, Angela, and Eileen, on a trip with him. And we visited, as we stop off and stay at motels. And of course, we brought our bathing suits. We went swimming. Well, Daddy had meeting. This is a meeting kind of trip. And so we did that. But every morning, whatever town we were in, we would go to mass. And of course, naturally, Daddy knew the priest, and I'm sure he had business there. Now you have to understand, we don't know he's doing business. We think he's just taking us on a trip and we're having fun, and it's just, always have to do mass, of course, but go to eat breakfast at these different restaurants and take these guests that we go on the way. But we ended up in Conyers, Georgia, a Trappist monastery, and Abbot Augustine is the abbot of the monastery. And I have to tell you, this is something. It seems like every time I have anything to do with my life, it's either a problem, a funny problem, or I'm acting like a clown. So one of the things is Ursula was in the front seat of the car, and Eileen and I were in the back seat. And don't know what car it was, Bridget, either. But anyway, I made faces, crazy faces, like, and and just anything, tacked, silly, and the cars would drive up a little further past Dad, and the driver of that car would go like this to Daddy, like you're look back in your back seat. And they started laughing. The people that drive up, Daddy, everybody started laughing. So I was just entertaining, to want to have fun, and that's what I did. So we did that, and then on the friars, we had we go. Oh, early in the morning. This is it. Ursula, Eileen, and I were in the guest family guest room, and 3 single beds. Real, just a little desk and a lamp or stuff like that. But Daddy stayed in the one of the friars' rooms, like a monk. He stayed in, and that's what he did. So Daddy would get up like 4 in the morning and do all that. We didn't know all this till later. But anyway, they would ring a bell, and like I think about 6, they had mass. I say 6, it could have been 5. I don't know what the real schedule, but I know friars always started the day earlier. So we went to the mass, but we were in kind of a separate area. We weren't, they were all together, so we kind of were aside. But we went to communion, and it was wonderful to be with them. Oh, to hear them sing, those men sing, it's a concert. We went to a concert. So after that, we would go to eat breakfast, and then here's what happened. Eileen got the cramps. Her period started, so she had to stay in bed, and it's beautiful because Ursula and I kind of were with her, and we didn't know what to do. And the friar knocked on the door and brought her some hot tea, and let her have some hot tea and some toast or something like that for Eileen. And then the friar says, "Now you let her rest. You come on, y'all can come walk the grounds." And so we left Eileen, and Ursula and I went to the ground, all around the grounds, vegetable ground. They were grow vegetables. The beautiful garden of flowers is incredible. So you see these wheelbarrows being walked around, and monks in their kind of look like they're always in their long casket. I don't know, robes or something, but work robes. They were just kind of torn and a little rough, but we saw them working and doing all this stuff. And so Ursula and I just walked around. The monks don't talk. They don't look up and see what we're doing or anything. But as I was walking by, and I told Ursula, I said, "Ursula, look at this guy. He's got muscles." Because he was holding the wheelbarrow, he was lifting it. It was just really just chunky guy. And the monk started chuckling. And but he kept on looking down. He didn't look at. I always had to say things or express myself. I guess that was easy to express myself. But Ursula was saying, "Shh, don't you know you're disturbing them?" So I try to be nice. The other thing is, when we had dinner, oh my gosh, the long banquet tables, all these chairs. I'm sorry, the phone ringing. I will say this. I think this is a table they made. I think they made the chairs. This is just that they have a hardware store. I mean, not a hardware store, a hardware place where they make things. That they're self-sustaining. Is what Daddy was telling us all about. So we were in the middle. They put us in the middle, and then at the head of the table there was a cross table, and the abbot was there, and Daddy was right next to the abbot, and then another friar, abbot, Daddy, and a friar, and then one of them was got up and said a prayer, and then this one friar was reading. So I was saying, I couldn't call Daddy because he's too far away. So I called Ursula. Ursula, what are we going to do? And she went, shh. We can't talk. We can't. She said, shut up. I can just see it. And I can see and look up, and the friars are not really supposed to be looking at us. You can see there was a little commotion that I started, and there again, I'm doing it again. Anyway, I finally, Ursula just big up. But Eileen and I saw a bowl, a medium-sized bowl of our favorite ice cream, lemon custard ice cream. So we each got, it's a family style. You take a scoop and you take it down. So I reached the bowl. I was going to be the first one to get it. I got it. Got my spoon and got a big spoonful. It didn't look like a lot for all of us, but I mean, it was only for like us four, and then there's another, serving of everything. So Eileen did the same thing, did that, and then another, and then we passed it on. Then we passed all the food. We got that, and I couldn't wait. I and I got our spoons and the big tablespoon. Got a big teaspoon of that. Put it in our mouth and went, yeah! We did this odd noise, and of course the bars are knowing what we're doing because they didn't understand why we would take so much of that. Well, it was butter. Butter. We thought it was lemon custard ice cream. When we put it to our mouth, it wasn't even cold, and that was the first clue that Eileen looks at me and she says, "You made me do this." Of course I did, because I was the first one. Ursula says, "Will you shut up?" Anyway, we took our napkins and spit it out on our napkins and wiped it off and put our napkin folded and put it in our lap. And then we had to hurry, let's eat something, get this taste out of our mouth, But I think we entertained the friars like they've never been entertained before. It was just really crazy that. And Daddy down there didn't know what the commotion was on because we were moving, and and there's a little kind of chuckling over there, and he figured out he'd tell us, he'd find out later. But that was incredible, that situation. I mean, where do women, we're girls, not women, girls get to eat with the Trappist monks? That's an honor. Of course, we didn't know at the time, but we learned of it later. So anyway, that was something that we will learn the rest of our life, to take a little bit of anything and taste it before you really get it in your mouth. The other thing that we know is, we didn't know this. Dad's on a business trip. He sells insurance. He sells the one that he's the grandfather of, indemnities. Indemnities is the name of it. And he created that. And I'm going to look it up. I'm going to find out more about it. But that's what Dad was doing. And he started off with hospitals, doctors, hospitals, and all the medical field. And then he went into religious orders. So that's where he went all over the United States selling the indemnity policies. And that helped the brothers and all the religious help with their money situation. But we found that out later on when I grew up. But here we were on vacation with our dad. So after that, we went to, let's see, let me see what else we did. I'm trying to think. The Cloistered. Now we're going to the next town or next whatever place, and we're at the Cloistered is a convent for nuns. So they have us in their guest room, and Dad said, "Well, y'all just kind of look around, and I'm going to see some because he got there early, and then we're going to have dinner." So he did that, and we walked around and saw some cute nuns. They look so young. Oh my God, they look so young and cute, but they had their heads down, and they just kind of walked. And so we thought, well, maybe they're in prayer, so we won't say anything. But the next, we had dinner, and the dinner, isn't it funny? I don't even know if we had dinner there. Maybe I think we went to a restaurant, because of breakfast. I think we had breakfast with them. Mass and breakfast, that's what it was. So we did that, and anyway, the next morning we're at the chapel, this cute, beautiful, darling chapel, and there's nobody in the church. It's just pews, a few pews, and the priest is there, and he's coming out, and over there to the right was this kind of a iron something. I had a word for it, and I can't find it with my wonderful glasses. I have, which is supposed to help me see. But anyway, let me turn the page. There you go. See, I have my little notes that I have. Believe it or not, Bridget, I did this morning. I thought of it all through the night. That's why I probably didn't sleep too well, which is okay. That was whatever you call the cloisters. They're behind a gated thing. It's not gated, but it's got some kind of barrier. But they have holes in it so you can see the people behind them, which we saw the nuns. We saw these were like 20 nuns. So anyway, oh, they sang. Here's another one. They sang so beautifully. You're in heaven. You're in heaven with those beautiful ladies and their voices. And I'm talking real soft because it was a quiet time for just that music. So what they did, the preacher gave us communion, and for them there was a little slight hole that they had, and they had a prelude, and they would kneel down, and then and of course communion in the tongue, and they would lift their veils or something. I don't know. But anyway, Father gave them each communion, and then they went back. And so they prayed some more, and then we came out and we had breakfast. When I say breakfast with them, I think it was a guest dining room is where we had. Oh no, cloistered, you really can't be with them. They're cloistered, okay? And so we had breakfast, and then on the way out of the breakfast, I talked to Daddy. Why is it that I feel like I always had the words to say, and they thought of it but wouldn't say it? I had really the freedom with my father. I always felt comfortable, and I knew he always had the answer. So I said, Dad, are you aware that those nuns in there don't talk? He tried not to laugh, but he held it back a little bit, and he says, yes, I'm very aware of it. And Ursula already knew. She's a couple of years older than me, so she kind of already knew. And she started to say something, and Daddy put, Angela, cloistered means it's a silence throughout their lives. And they have permission to some holidays or special feast days and Christmas to talk. So other than that, they offer their whole lives to God in a quiet, prayerful way. And when he's being very sincere about this, the way he says this, I said, Dad, I just want you to know something. I am not going to go and be one of those nuns. Ursula and he says, oh no, we know you won't be one of those. So we all had a good time, but I was floored. I learned cloistered orders. I learned it, I envisioned it, I saw it, and I just wanted to assure Dad that's not where I was going in my future. The other thing is, then we went out. I don't know how long we were gone, but it probably, I would say, about 5 days, like something like that. And then we drove back home to be in our new home and to help Mom. And this is August. We are going to start our 8th grade. Eileen's in my 8th grade. Ursula's going to be sophomore, and Ursula, she's 2 grades ahead of me. See, she wouldn't be 2 heads if I had, gone to 1st grade on time, not been sick. I would have been like that. So it works out better for all of us that I got to be with Eileen and I. We were trying to figure out how many of us were on the bus. Daddy figured that, and I figured it out. Daddy had all of us go back to Holy Trinity for our last year, for Eileen's and my last year. Then I heard from my brother Mike, who was in 7th grade. He was on the bus. Then I heard from uh, Donnie. Okay, here are the ages. I'm 14, Eileen's 13, Mike is 11. Donnie was on the bus with us, 9. Stevie was on the bus with us, he's 8. Margaret Ann was 6 in 1st grade. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 of us went on the bus, catching it at Walnut Hill Lane and Merrill Road. Probably about 7 something, 15, and then taking it all the way to Oak Lawn. And we all had bus cards. Well, of course we had bus cards, but I had the collection of all of them, okay? But that was interesting because I had to figure that, Al helped me figure out their ages because I'm not too good at math. You have to figure out the year they were born, and then you have to figure out, okay, 7th, well, okay, all that. What would they be in 1st grade? Then you add all that up. So Al helped me out this morning. But the other reason, you have to know about this. The children at our home was Christine, who was 3, Tommy, who was 2, and Philip, who was a newborn from the last baby born at Ballister, the newborn is January. It was Philip. Philip was the baby. So mother had 3 children at home. So I can see mother say, Dad, why don't you let Eileen and Angela take the bus and let Mike, Donnie, Stevie, and Margaret go on to St. Monica's? Well, guess what? Who's going to take them to school? Mom's loaded down with 3 children under 3. No, she didn't drive. Dad's on a trip. So that's why they all went with Eileen and I. And since we're the chief babysitters, it was just natural for us to have the rest of us go all together. So that's why I figured that all out this time, okay? One time we caught the bus, and I don't know either if we were late or if we were too early or what it was, but we caught a bus. And I wasn't paying attention, I wasn't paying attention to the route, but I looked on the bus and there were some high school students wearing just your regular clothes, like for public school. And I went, that's strange because the bus that we take, I don't think they've ever been on our bus. So anyway, what happened is our bus went past Ursuline Academy and it went to Thomas Jefferson on Preston Road. So that's when after all the high school students left, I got up to the bus driver. I said, excuse me, sir, but I think we took the wrong bus. Well, where do you want to go? I said, we have to go on Oak Lawn. Oh, I can get you there. You can? And, yeah, son. So I don't know how he did it, but I think he got off the track and had to go about 4 blocks over near Highland Park area to drop us off, and then he got back on the route. I'm not worried about it. That's his job. He did it for us, and there's not too many people on the bus anyway, so that was good. We come into the principal's office, and I have to say this is funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it's serious when we're all walking in. There's all of us. How many did I say we had? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us, which is not a big office for the principal's office, but the other little ones are on our laps. And I can't even think of the principal's name. Is where have you all been? Well, sister, of course, the spokesman. Sister, we caught the wrong bus. How do you know how to catch the wrong bus? I said, well, we just found out how to do it. And so anyway, she didn't like my answer, and she says, I think I had to call your father. I wouldn't call your mother. I had to call your father. And I told him, you're not here yet. And this is now we're probably 45 minutes late, maybe, something like that. And I said, well, we didn't mean to, sister. It just, I'll tell you what, I'll never do this again. And she said, well, your father wasn't too worried. In fact, he made a statement like, I think they went joyriding, something like that. And I went, that's just like Daddy. He didn't take anything serious. He was joyful. So I didn't do anything. I didn't crack anything. Eileen and I looked at each other and we just held our breath because we're dying to laugh because we know our dad. But she didn't like it. Well, I was very worried, and I'm sure Daddy said, well, don't worry, they'll be there. They'll be there. I know they'll be there. So sister said, make sure this never happens again. So I have to mark you tardy. Well, and we all come out, and of course the little one said, what does tardy mean? It means we were late. Well, what does that do for our grade? Nothing. It just said, they just gave us a talk, and we won't ever do it again. So don't worry about your grade. Your grade's fine. So we all went back to our classes and everything, and it never happened again. But then I got to thinking, we're in 8th grade. Don't we have meetings towards the end of the year and stuff like that? That we can't have all these kids waiting on us, So I had that. That's that problem solved. Mike, who's in 7th grade, got the kids and took them home. So hey, it worked out perfectly. We got to stay at school a little later, and I was wondering because sometimes we were later, and there was no kids around. So I thought that was the only piece of it really happening. That was 8th grade, and I have a whole bunch of 8th grade stories, but it's in my album. And Bridget's. There's an 8th grade album that had. I have the 8th grade newspaper that we published, and it's all in there. So I have to say we're going to stop there, and then the other thing is, this is what I have to tell you real quickly, is Mother and Dad's 25th anniversary was November 28th, 1954. Here is their picture. And it was Bishop Dangelmeyer and look at those two other priests on the altar, okay? Mother is right there. Oh, there, her, right there, and Dad on the altar. Now, this is gonna really, I've got to tell you this. Maybe you can't see it. This is Holy Trinity, okay? On the altar, oh, where's the nuns? Oh yeah, look at Our Lady, the Sister Daughters of Charity. This is our teachers. On the altar, there's some brothers and priests up there, but there's one over here that is wearing white. And the only one in the world that wears white that we know of is the Pope. So we came out of that church. People were commenting, my God, Jim and Francis had the Pope from Rome come to their 25th anniversary. And it would have been Pope Pius XII, because we know Pope Pius XII was in office, was designated designated the Pope, and I have that down, 1940 to 1954. 54, see? Right after this, he would have been, anyway. I love this. The Blessed Mother was taken down from there and brought over here where this guy is, and I'm going to tell you who it is. This was Abbot Augustine from the Trappist monastery in Conyers, Georgia. He came out of his monastery to attend, special permission to attend this 25th anniversary. Spectacular. And then everybody else found out. I have to show you This is our mother at her reception, drinking her little champagne punch. Look how beautiful she looks. And you can't tell, but she's wearing her old black suit. And on here is pink satin, and pink satin around the sleeves. And she had a pink hat that she bought that new. And the reason why I know all this is that the story goes that Eileen and I went to the dressmaker with our mother, and and the dressmaker had this pink satin material. And mother showed this dressmaker how to make what she wanted on her old dress. And Eileen and I were privileged to go with our mothers. And I think you know what I think it was? I think my mother was telling, this is what I want you to know that you might have to do. She was always an example of what needs to be done. So I'm so glad I have that picture. I'm telling you, hey, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph are blessing me with I had this other project prepared. I told Bridget it was going to be something special, and you all have to know this. Next time, Bridget, is the most spectacular story, and it happened. And the name of the story is The Legacy of James Forrest McCaffrey from St. Mary's University. That happened to me at a funeral for one of the brothers. And I have a short little thing I want to talk to you about. I'm in that chapel. I've got goosebumps talking about this. Our Lady of the, I can't think, Immaculate Conception or whatever chapel, I'll find out the name of the chapel. That's a chapel that's inside the main building at St. Mary's. The chapel where our dad had gone to Mass when he was a freshman at St. Mary's University, and also half of his sophomore year. And coming back from communion, I sat there, and I was so in awe of this voice saying to me, Angela, I was here. I'm your dad, and I was here in this chapel. And I just was in awe of Dad. I'm in the chapel that my dad was in. And I just thought that was incredible. So I'm just being quiet, and then like there's a reception. We did the reception and get in the car, and I'm writing on the little tablet thing they gave us about the brother. But anyway, I want you to know that I got that word, legacy, and I had to ask Al, tell me exactly what that means. And Al, true to form, told me what legacy meant. And I said, well, Al, I will be writing the legacy of my father. And he says, and then I'll tell you how it happened and what I've come across in my writings in the last 3 or 4 years of my writings on that. Okay, Bridget, that's it. Take a breather. Thank you so much. I love sharing my life.